Good Monday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Monday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about tonight. And what are those things? Well, we're going to talk about the current conditions, what's currently going on. We'll talk about the weather for tonight, going into tomorrow as well. We also will talk about the weather for our long term, short term future. That being obviously the CAD or the cold air damming setup that's going to set up and take place as we get into mainly tonight and tomorrow with below normal highs. We're also going to talk about how Wednesday will come along, kind of break it apart, and then we will start to see a significant warm up once we get into Wednesday. Then as we go all the way into Thursday going into Sunday, summer like warmth will come in. We'll start to see showers slash thunderstorm chances. And, that's what we're mainly going to go on and talk about for tonight. If you have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Right now, 6 people tuned in, only 5 likes, so go and hit the like button. Also, hit the subscribe button. We are at 712, trying to get to that main goal of 800. 88 away. 88 away. Also, make sure that you go on and hit that share button. Share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to, because it is free and you can change your mind at any time. So let's see what's currently going on throughout the state of South Carolina. Well, maybe a bit of, maybe not a shocker, but a bit of a surprise if you watched the forecast this morning, but not really if you watched last night. Because last night the models were saying, as we went into this evening, going into, tonight, there was going to be some rainfall activity, some isolated shower activity, and there is a shower going on right here. Chesterfield, Cheraw, Wallace going on over inside of Society Hill, inside of South Carolina. And if, for the most part, that's the only area. Maybe this area just to the south of Jefferson. But again, everybody else seems to be dry. If we look at what's going on throughout the entire U.S., we do in fact have some rainfall and snowfall activity. We have rainfall slash maybe even some winter precipitation going on in Virginia, West Virginia, some rainfall in Tennessee, as well as North Carolina, Florida, getting, some rainfall also going on over here inside of South Dakota, going on inside of Iowa and Minnesota. Rainfall and snowfall going on over here inside the Central Rockies, going a bit into the Northern Rockies as well. And for the most part, just seems like everybody else is on the dry side. The South being dry, the Northeast being dry, over here in the Pacific Northwest, and just the West in general looking dry. Now, what about for our cloud cover? Cloud cover, for the most part, seems like that we are just on that mostly cloudy side still. We still have cloud cover going on all the way from the upstate over inside the low country areas, over inside the PD and the Grand Strand areas as well. And if we go in and look at that cloud cover for the future, just as we continue to push our way forward through tonight, cloud cover continues to remain even as we go through tonight, going into tomorrow afternoon. And then it kind of clears up a little bit, but it actually does really decrease a good bit, especially for a good amount of the low country, PD areas, maybe even a bit of the Midlands as well. And cloud cover won't be as prominent as we get through tomorrow night, going into like the Wednesday early morning time frame. Maybe some fog as we go into Wednesday morning as well. I'm looking at that starting to occur. But for the most part, cloud cover is just going to continue to be all over the place. Now, a main thing that, concern that a lot of people may have tonight is obviously the lunar eclipse is tonight. Remember that lunar eclipse is tonight. So, for the most part, it looks like that it may not be that great of a viewing. You can see this right here. Cloud cover taking over a good amount of the state as we go into tonight. Remember that it's going to start at 3:44 in the morning, end at 6:48. The maximum time is 6:33. And now that's just my location now, so it may be a bit different, but around that 6 o'clock, 6:30 time frame in the morning time frame. And so, even if we want to push this forward, cloud cover is definitely here and there. It is definitely here and there. And by the time you get into around like, this is 7 a.m., this is 6 a.m. right here, look at how much cloud cover there is throughout the entire state. 100% all the way from the upstate over inside the low country areas and over inside the PD and the Grand Strand areas as well. So definitely not some great things tonight if you definitely were wanting to see it. Now for our live temperatures, current temperatures right now we have around a good 56 in Somerville, 55 in Charleston, as well as 56 in Beaufort, 55 Hilton Head On, as well as a good 52 in Orangeburg, 54 in Georgetown, even 54 in Murray's Inlet, 53 in Myrtle Beach, and 53 in Conway, 50 Florence, and 48 in Lugoff, 50 also inside of Columbia, and 48 in Newberry, 49 Greenwood, and 49 in Anderson and Clemson, 47 Greenville, and 46 in Spartanburg, Gaffney, 45 in York as well. Air quality for today seems like that we are mostly inside the moderate category. Good amount of us in the good, which is good. But seems like for the most part, Columbia over into like the PD, the Grand Strand area is a good amount of the low country. Inside the moderate category. So that's what we're looking at as we get into tonight. Low temperatures for tonight, we have around a good 44 in Spartanburg, 44 in Rock Hill, as well as 45 in Greenville, 46 Anderson, and 46 in Lawrence, 47 in Greenwood and Newberry, as well as 49 in Columbia, 48 Sumter, and 47 in Florence, 47 Kingstree, as well as 48 in Georgetown, 49 in Myrtle Beach, as well as 50 in Moncks Corner and Walterboro, 52 in Charleston, and 55 in Hilton Head Island, 50 in Barnwell. High temperatures for tomorrow, you have around a good 60 in Spartanburg, as well as 59 in Greenville, 60 in Anderson and 61 inside of Lawrence, 62 in Newberry and Winsboro, as well as 65 in Columbia, 66 in Sumter and Aiken, as well as 66 in Orangeburg, 68 in Barnwell and 70 in Moncks Corner and Walterboro, 67 inside of Charleston and 66 in Georgetown, 67 also inside of Hilton Head Island, and 63 in Myrtle Beach. Rainfall for tonight. Even though we do in fact have rainfall going on throughout the state right now, it says that it's not expected. I guess that is mainly because this was updated last at 4 o'clock p.m. So that may be, a bit of a reason as of why. But, I mean, for the most part, right now, I'm just looking at the total accumulation for the past hour, and I can probably look at it more on the single radar here. Let me see if I can go in and see it. Storm total precipitation. Yeah, it doesn't really say anything too much. Doesn't really say anything too much at all. So, that shower probably isn't really doing too much. Shower isn't probably really doing too much right now. Maybe just be one of those annoying rains to where it doesn't really accumulate much at all. Now for the crazy score. If you have no idea what the crazy score is, it is a score that we see how crazy the weather is throughout the entire state of South Carolina. And right now, we are at a 32. Why are we at a 32? Well, locally to significant potential for patchy to dense fog again tonight, especially in the coastal / the low country areas from sea fog, expansion with a possible even dense fog advisory for the low country areas, especially that deep low country near Beaufort and Jasper areas. Patchy radiational fog. Inland in the valleys of the Midlands with the moist soils, visibility is potentially less than a quarter of a mile in dense spots, combined with the calm and light wind that favors that fog development with light winds. And maybe even a little bit of a good radiational cooling setup as well. Clouds are still going to be pretty active, so that will also add to it as well. And for the most part, that's about it. I don't really see anything else too crazy for tonight. SPC outlook for tonight. Thunderstorms are not expected tonight, tomorrow, or Wednesday, so we are good in terms of thunderstorm activity. And even if we go on into fire weather, nothing for tonight. Excessive rainfall, nothing for tonight either, so we are good in terms of severe weather. Now, if we go on and look at the models, make sure you pay attention to the time at the bottom part of the screen, because that is very important to go on and pay attention to. We start off here at 9 o'clock p.m., and just as you go on and push this forward, I mean, you can see by the time we get to around 11 p.m., you start to see maybe like some drizzles going on in the upstate, but that may also just be fog cover activity, just causing a little bit of moisture, but not really anything in terms of accumulations. You continue this forward all the way through tomorrow, going into like tomorrow during the evening hours, going to the nighttime hours, and for the most part, we just stay nice and dry. I mean, all the way through Tuesday all the way through Wednesday as well. And it looks like that we are good. looks like that for the most part we are good for the next 48 hours in terms of mostly rainfall, and especially that accumulable precipitation. Even if we look at the total QPF, you see like a little area, some little areas up here inside the upstate. But we'll see what happens with that. I mean, if anything, 100th of an inch, 10th of an inch up there in the upstate like tonight, but that's about it. And then what about the long-term future? Well, for the most part, we're going to start off here at the 54-hour mark where we just ended off at right here on Wednesday, 7 o'clock p.m. You go in and push this forward, and you can see for the most part maybe some rainfall activity going on Thursday, but not as much. Not as much as we were once seeing. In fact, a lot less of a precipitation threat on Thursday. A lot less of a precipitation threat on Thursday. You move all the way through Friday, for example. Friday comes along. I see some rainfall on Friday a little bit. But like I said, I'm not really seeing anything else too crazy, except for maybe just a little bit of a rainfall / a thunderstorm threat Thursday and Friday. With Friday probably being the more convective, the more widespread day in terms of rainfall activity. Now, all of that can change, so we'll see what happens with that as we continue. But we move all the way through Saturday, for example. Saturday comes along, and rainfall activity may be a bit present in the upstate, but and then we go in like into Sunday, still potentially some rainfall moving through. And once that's out of the way, it's for the most part gone. For the most part, it's gone as we go through, even as we go into, Wednesday, for example. Wednesday comes along, definitely a lot drier, until we move to Thursday. And this is, that mid-March time frame that I've been talking about, that potential for some severe weather. And I mean, for the most part, it looks like that a good amount of rainfall definitely is possible as we go into that Thursday of next week. So we'll see what happens there. Good amount of rainfall possible there, even as we move into Tuesday of the following week. So I think definitely an active time frame is definitely going to be in our future as we get past the later portions of next week. But, going back to this weekend, like I was saying, for the most part, it just looks like that we are going to stay mostly dry as we can start off the beginning of the week next week. But then once we get into midweek, that's when things start to take a little bit of a turn. But so far, especially with just how isolated this looks and just the fact that, like, this right here is a great frame. These two frames, just things are, a bit isolated and just not really too confirmed right now. So we're going to have to watch and see what happens. Same thing with Thursday going into Friday as well. So that's what we're looking at here in terms of our rainfall threats for the future. Definitely not going to be too bad until we get into, like I said, that mid-March time frame. And, speaking of that, we can go on and look at these temperatures because I do want to go on and continue to look at this CAD formation, this cold air damming formation that's taking place. We go all the way through. We start off Monday, 10 o'clock p.m. There goes the cold air damming setup right there, trying to take form. We're here at 10 o'clock in the morning. On Tuesday, we're a little bit below average, only like a degree or 2 or 3. But for the most part, we're just near normal. We continue through, going to Tuesday, Wednesday, going into Thursday, and you can see that cold air damming setup really leaves, and we get back to being above average in terms of temperatures. Now we're 15 to 20 degrees above average as we go into like the next couple of days after that cold air damming setup is done. And then we continue through all the way through Friday, through Saturday, and just look at how above average in terms of temperatures we are. I mean, just very nice. Very nice as we go throughout the weekend as well, going throughout the beginning of next week. The mid parts of next week just looks nice until we get into the later parts of next week to where a cold front will be trying to move through, and it will bring our temperatures down for sure. It will bring our temperatures down for sure. And what do you see right here? I'm not, 264 hours out, so things can change, but that cold front moves through. And then just on the east of those mountains, again, you're starting to see below average temperatures going on again. So we'll continue to watch for that, see what happens. But for the most part, it definitely does look like cold front could be moving through as we go into later portions of next week. Now, if you go on and look at the dew points as well, because that's also a pretty good indicator on these cold fronts. You go on and push this forward. There goes the first cold front pushing through. There it goes right there. It kind of moves out the way, but then potentially another CAD setup, maybe trying to set up a little bit to where, we're cooler on the eastern side of the mountains, warmer on the western side of the mountains. That's all still definitely possible as we go through, even into the mid parts of March again. So let's go and look at the actual temperatures. Right now, temperatures, as we start off, as we go throughout like the next couple of days, being tomorrow and Wednesday, high temperatures being up in the 60s, maybe the 70s as we go into Wednesday. But the temperatures that I'm really looking at is Thursday. Thursday, we're starting to see some 80s starting to pop up. We go into Friday, temperatures going up into the 80s again, maybe a bit into like the lower to mid 80s. Okay, what about Saturday? Saturday comes along and a lot more of us are in the 80s. Coming into Sunday, still good amount of us in the 80s again. And so as we continue through even in the next week, this is Monday for next week. We have 80s from the upstate to the low country to the Midlands to even a little bit of the Grand Strand area as well. And it's the same thing as we go all the way through Tuesday and Wednesday of the week after. It's not until that cold front comes along to where it really ruins the party and we get right back down into those 60s and maybe even some 50s for highs. We may even be talking about some 40s for some highs as we go into later next week. And, if we want to just make sure, we can go and check out the ensemble just to have more consistency and to have more accuracy with it. And having the mean of temperatures. But if you go in and push this forward, past the 200-hour mark, we still see some 80s even as we go into Wednesday of next week. So we still are seeing some. We move through Thursday, high temperatures still being in the 70s, and that cooler air moves through. We're starting to see temperatures really just getting to like the 60s or so as that cold air moves through. And then for the most part, looks like a mid-month March cool down definitely is possible as we go throughout, obviously, the next 200 to 300 hours or so. So a lot of things to consider as we go throughout these next 300 hours or so. So make sure that you are enjoying these warm temperatures that we get for sure, especially as we get into this weekend, especially because as we get more and more into later portions of next week, going into early, like the week after next week, early parts of that week, we're going to start to see a little bit of a cool down coming back. So make sure that you are prepared. I'm not seeing anything in terms of freezing temperatures though, so that's good. At least that's good. I am seeing maybe some low 40s though. So that's all that I really have to say here for the models. Let's go in and look at the official temperatures real quick from the National Weather Service and, what they say in terms of their high temperatures. And then we will go on and look at the audience. If you want to be part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. And we're going to go on and check them out in just a second. But first, let's go on and check out these temperatures real quick. And so, right here, you can already start off high temperatures for Thursday. Already being into like the 80s or so. Now, that if we can go on and look at Wednesday. Wednesday, for the most part, it shows some 80s for Wednesday. But for the most part, 70s is where we're going to be at. Maybe some 60s even near the coastal areas. But like I said, to Thursday, things start to improve. We get to Friday, things really improve. We're starting to see mid-80s like in Columbia. We're starting to see a good amount of 80s pretty much throughout the entire state at this point, except for some coastal areas. We get all the way into day 5, Saturday. Things calm down a little bit more, but we're still mostly in the 80s. And that continues all the way through Monday of next week. All the way up into the 80s. And then what about for our minimum temperatures? These are minimum temperatures on Thursday. Low temperatures on Thursday. Looks like that we are going to be just in the 60s. And that continues all the way through here Saturday night. Lows, most in the low 60s, some in the high 50s. So definitely warm up is coming up. Make sure that you are prepared for it. And it's just we are about to have a nice little stretch of warm weather. Does not mean that rainfall is definitely not possible. As we know, thunderstorms potentially possible as we go into later portions of this week. So let's go in and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, my Aunt Lula was here first. She says, good evening, everyone. I pray that everyone had a blessed day today. I did. Thank you so much for asking. Today in Georgetown, we had a beautiful, beautiful day. Glad to hear that as well. And then as we continue our way down, Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. My Aunt Lula says our high today was around 61 degrees. 61 degrees. Well, currently at my house it is 57, and the high temperature for today was 64, and she says currently it's 53. My nan says, hello, Jay. I only went outside today to retrieve my mail, and it was almost dark. Well, at least you got some outside time today, I will say. That at least you weren't inside all day. Milo says Georgetown started off with a small amount of fog. I didn't really see too much fog. I did notice there was some moisture, so especially on vehicles. So that probably came from fog. But for the most part, didn't really see too much. Especially, like I said, not as much as Sunday morning. Wasn't long before the fog cleared up. That says, good evening, just from the 360 Weather family. Good evening to you. Miss Chris says, good evening, everyone. Sorry I'm late, was doing laundry. That's fine. Dad says, I trust all is well. It was such a beautiful day here in San Antonio. Highs was in the upper 80s. Well, that will continue for you, and we'll talk about San Antonio's weather just a little bit. Mr. Chris says, currently it's 56. Only got to around 62 for the high. Dad says, got some lemons and limes in pots today, so that was one of the highlights of my day. Glad to hear that. Then as we continue our way down, Milo says it was cloudy but no precipitation. Thank you so much for that weather report for where you are. Then Mr. Chris comes in and says, JP, did you hear about another earthquake near Colombia? Well, as far as I can see right now, I see the one from yesterday. Yes, there was one yesterday at around 1:55 p.m. 1:55 p.m. There was an earthquake yesterday, not today, yesterday, and it was indeed over here near Lake, right here near Lake Murray, and it was around a 2.2. It was around a good 2.2. So not in the low country, not in the PD areas, not in the Grand Strand, not in the upstate, in the Midland areas, right near Columbia again, right near Irma. I mean, Irma's just been getting hit with these same earthquakes. I mean, for like the past, if we go in and look at the past month, they've had 5 earthquakes in the past month already. So they've been continuing last half month, honestly, I should say. So, again, can't predict earthquakes, can't really do anything with that, except for just make sure that you're prepared for the next one that happens. That says, when is the eclipse? The eclipse is tonight. Actually early in the morning. I mean, it's both tonight and early in the morning. It can go all the way from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll look at it for San Antonio once we talk about it. And then my Aunt Lewis says, nephew, is it safe to burn some leaves? I live in a rural area of Georgetown, and I do safely burn leaves. Well, there is no risk of any sort of fire weather, so I wouldn't see why not. Should be safe for you to do so. Just like I said, or like you said, just make sure you do it safely. But for right now, there's no fire risk, so I would not see a reason as of why you would not be able to. Mr. Chris says, please remember to go and hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also share with everyone that you know. It's free, helps the channel grow, and you can always change your mind at any time, so please support the channel absolutely. Right now, we have around a good 23 people tuned in and only 10 likes. So if you are part of that group of 13 that have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. It's free, and you can change your mind at any time. Then Mr. Michael says, will South Carolina be able to see the eclipse in the early morning hours? It matters just based off the cloud cover. Like I said, cloud cover is going to be a huge question mark, and it looks like right now that most of us will be covered with cloud cover, which is unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. So, hopefully we get some clear spots. It may just have to be one of those times where if you really want to see, you might just have to check multiple times during the night to see if that cloud cover has cleared up or not a little bit in your area. Because it just looks like cloud cover will definitely be a pretty big highlight as we go throughout tonight. In fact, for example, I go in and take my location over here. Let's see what it says. It says mostly cloudy tonight. So not great. Definitely not great. Sky cover just increases as you get throughout the nighttime hours. Its lowest is probably right when it starts, though. So for around that's like 3 a.m. It gets highest at around 6 o'clock in the morning, which, would you believe it, that's the peak time frame of it. So, not great. Definitely not great if you want to see it tonight. Hopefully you get to see it tonight, though, wherever you are. And then Maya Lewis says, when it comes to rain versus cold temperatures, I do prefer rain. Well, definitely, I am definitely preferring rain right now, especially because there's a drought going on throughout the state. So I definitely do prefer the rain right now. So let's go in and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 locations, what am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly, we go on and talk about their areas for them. So starting off with San Antonio first, you have low temperatures tonight at around 64. High temperatures tomorrow at around 87. The low temperatures tomorrow night at around 69. Precipitation not expected for tonight or tomorrow, but tomorrow night there is a slight chance of a drizzle as you go into tomorrow night, so make sure that you are prepared for that. In terms of your severe weather, your excessive rainfall, looks like for the most part that you are clear. In terms of severe weather, you do have a lot of severe weather risk around you, especially to your north. But for right now, it seems like that you are out of it just for now. But I would not be surprised if a little bit later during the week, and maybe even into the weekend, that you may see a little bit of a severe weather chance. We'll see what happens there. Excessive rainfall, just as we go throughout the next 5 days or so, looks like that you are good. So let's go in and look at your future. Looks like for the most part that you will most likely be, trying to stay up into those 80s as we get throughout the rest of the week. 86 on Friday, 88 on Thursday. Even as you go into the weekend, you will actually try to stay in that 80 range. You may get into the mid 70s as you get into like Sunday and Monday, but a little bit of a not so hot break, getting down to the mid 70s a little bit. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at around 41, high temperatures tomorrow at around 65, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 50. Slight chance of rainfall tonight. Precipitation not expected tomorrow and tomorrow night. And then for the most part, looks like that you have no severe weather. You have no excessive rainfall. So it looks like for the most part that you are good as well. Except for, as we continue throughout the rest of the week, your temperatures for the most part will be warming up. I mean, you have 77 on Wednesday, 80 on Thursday, 82 on Friday, 81 on Sunday. So, you will be warming up, especially as you get into this weekend. So definitely enjoy that. And then, your rain chance will come back, though, as you get into like Sunday and Monday. Right now already a 40 and a 50% chance for Sunday and Monday. So something to watch for there. Then for Philadelphia, low temperatures tonight at around 30, high temperatures tomorrow at around 42, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 40. Chance of a wintry mix tonight, then tomorrow, wintry mix and rain is expected, and then rain is expected tomorrow night. So you definitely will continue to see a little bit of a wintry mix on go, and you even have a little bit of a winter weather advisory from 5 a.m. tomorrow morning to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Mixed precipitation expected, total snow accumulations, less than an inch, around a light glaze. So that's what you're looking at as you go through tomorrow morning. So nothing much. In terms of your severe weather, your excessive rainfall, stuff like that, looks like that you are good in terms of that as well. And then for your future, looks like that you will be just trying to be inside of, trying to warm up, just like the rest of us for the most part. 54 on Wednesday, 58 on Thursday, 62 on Friday, maybe even getting to 72 on Sunday. So warm-ups are definitely on the way, and it's just going to be an active week. I mean, rainfall is possible every day this week. Every single day. Tuesday, rain slash snow slash freezing rain. Wednesday, rain. Um, Thursday, chance of rain. Friday, chance of rain. Saturday, only little dry day, but as you go into the nighttime hours, still a chance of rain. Same thing with Sunday and Monday. So you will continue to just see that rainfall risk kind of just stay. And then finally for Duncan, Oklahoma, you have low temperatures tonight at around 56. High temperatures tomorrow at around 83, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 58. Precipitation, not expected at this time. Precipitation is not expected for tonight or tomorrow, but tomorrow night, there is indeed a chance of showers. And so, with that chance of showers, there's nothing else really too much with it, except for when you continue for your severe weather on Wednesday, March the 4th, 2026. You have a marginal risk of severe weather. On Friday, March the 6th, 2026, you have a slight risk of severe weather. And on Thursday, March the 5th, 2026, you have a slight risk of severe weather. So, severe weather is definitely coming for you as you go through Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So make sure that you are prepared for it, as severe weather season is already starting up strong, and it's going to start right over there in Oklahoma, right there in Texas, right there in Arkansas. Those areas right there will already start to receive their severe weather, one of the first of this spring severe weather season right here. So we'll continue to watch for that, and not only do you have to watch out for that, but also excessive rainfall on Friday, March the 6th, 9 a.m. going into Saturday, March the 7th at 9 a.m. Isolated flash flooding is possible, so make sure that you are prepared for that as well. But for the most part, that's it for severe weather and excessive rainfall. What about for your future? I mean, it looks like for the most part, with high temperatures being at 83 tomorrow, you're going to kind of cool down into like the 70s a little bit as you continue throughout the rest of the week, and then you'll stay in the 70s as you go into next week as well. But it's going to continue to be an active week, as you have rainfall pretty much almost every single day except for tomorrow. Chance of showers showers likely on Wednesday, showers likely on Thursday, showers on Friday, showers likely on Saturday. A chance of showers on Sunday and Monday. So you just continue to see that risk there. And so that's all I have to say there in terms of the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. What is going on right now throughout the entire U.S. weather news wise? Yes, weather news wise. Well, a wintry mix may impact travel conditions and get across parts of the mid-Atlantic through the morning and the Northeast through Tuesday, which we just talked about that for Philadelphia. Heavy rainfall and thunderstorms may cause a flooding threat across the southern plains into the Ohio Valley beginning on Tuesday, and fire weather concerns will continue across parts of the southern and the central high plains through Wednesday over there in New Mexico, southern Colorado. And then for the most part, I mean, that's about it. Nothing else really too crazy. Maybe some windy condition down there inside of the southwest, Arizona, parts of California, parts of Nevada, but that's about it. Let's see. We do have a picture that was sent in tonight, right when I started, 9:01, and it was from Thad. He says, "At current, needless to say, was a phenomenal weather day. I meant to take pictures earlier, but I fell asleep." So that's not a problem, but we have the pictures right here. So let's go on and show them. And so this was the first one that he sent. This one was a picture of his flowers that he put inside of the pot, or not really flowers, but plants inside of the pot. He said it earlier. Got some lemons and limes in pots today, so that was one of my highlights of my day. So I guess this is the pictures right here. So thank you so much for these pictures. If you want to go in and send in a picture, you can by sending it to scweather360@gmail.com. Again, that is scweather360@gmail.com. Has to be weather related or something outside related. Something outside related, or something that incorporates a little bit of weather into it. And so I believe that is all that I have to say here. So make sure, if you've not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. Right now we have around a good, 27 people watching, only 11 likes, so go on and hit the like button. Also hit the subscribe button. We're at 712, trying to get to 800. And also go on and hit the share button. Share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to, because it's free and you can change your mind at any time. Top fans of the night for tonight, Mahalui started off here first. She has right now 10. That's around 10 inside the chat for her. 10 points inside the chat for her. And then Mr. Chris has around a good like 13, like 12-ish or so. 12, 13-ish. So he is the winner for tonight. Maya Lu's at number 2. And then Thad's at number 3. So congratulations to the three of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, being here early, being here active, and being just a subscriber. Because if you're not a subscriber, you won't be able to participate in general. I will be back tomorrow morning with your Tuesday morning forecast update. Make sure that you're there. Also, I will be here tomorrow night as well with your Tuesday evening forecast update as well. So make sure that you're there for that. And then I think that is about all. Make sure that if you tune in for the eclipse tonight, you go on and send in those pictures. Mr. Chris says, everyone, please remember to stay safe and hydrated. Thank you so much for that. And I think that's all. So make sure you go on and hit those 2 buttons before you leave if you are new.